Many great heroes don't just spawn up from the ground. No, they are raised up to be amazing people that will one day save the world. And then you look over at Samos, and well, Samos did technically raise three heroes that would end up saving the world. We're not going to ignore the sins of his actions. This video is not to praise Samos, but rather to point out why this man is a menace. Samos is the reason behind all three of our main characters' pain. And I know what some people are gonna say. Samos had to go back to the future. And I will stand by you on that. The time loop had to be continued. It was very important for Jak to go home. I understand. But that doesn't take away from the failure of Samos and his teachings. Let's just roll the video. I don't like him. I am pretty sure that this man hates Daxter the most. I even said that in my own Daxter video. While I don't truly believe that Samos had ill intent of Daxter turning into an Ottsel, that doesn't excuse the behavior of Samos towards Daxter. I noticed that in the first game, these two are always bickering and fighting. Samos constantly puts Daxter down and makes him feel lesser than, which is weird because both Jak and Daxter are annoying teenagers, but for some odd reason, Daxter seems to get the brunt of most of Samos's frustration and anger.
Like what with the artifact? But like orange stuff here's breath, it's just still floating above the swamp. Who decided to show up?
Nice to see you, too. Do they have you mopping the floors now? I spent many a day cleaning up this place for old Greenie.
Good work, Jak. And Daxter, I suppose.
For example, Samos doesn't waste no time dehumanizing Daxter after his transformation. Samos is Daxter's guardian. You'd think he'd be worried about, him losing his human body. But no, he's just like, let me continue to degrade Daxter and humiliate this poor child every chance he gets, even in moments that aren't really called for.
This affair will end badly. A wise man once said.
What wise man said that?
I did.
When I was a kid, I thought Daxter and him always bickered, therefore he just continued it when he changed. But as an adult, I realized that even if that was the case, Samos is this boy's guardian. Samos is supposed to be Daxter's mentor and help him emotionally, but instead he does everything in his power to verbally put Daxter down. To me, this kind of reinforces an idea that Daxter's transformation into an Ottsel kind of made him lesser than in Samos's eyes.
Misty Island.
That's right, and then...
And Daxter, you finally took a much-needed bath, but in a bathtub filled with dark eco.
Look, old man, are you gonna keep yapping, or are you gonna help me out of this mess?
I'm gonna keep yapping, because in my professional opinion, the change is an improvement. And besides,
instead of showing sympathy for the boy who lost his human body, Samos treats the transformation as a personal annoyance that he has to tolerate, and his attitude towards Daxter calms down a bit, but it really doesn't change as the series goes by. Like, look at Jak too. Samos is thrilled to see Jak, and to some extent Keira, but he doesn't give the same energy to Daxter. Heck, he's only happy to see Jak alive in Jak 3.
Jak, over here!
Samos, Keira.
Ah, Samos. Still as green as the stuff between my toes.
See, Keira? I knew I could feel Jak's energy. My boy, it's good to see you again.
You think the Green Man would be happy to see both of them alive? But no, only Jak, even though Daxter got dragged into this timeline because of you. But ignore Orange Lightning, I guess. Whatever. And personally, to me, this is offensive. Jak isn't the only person doing the work. Jak wasn't the only person who got banished. Daxter is Jak's partner. For heaven's sakes, you couldn't even just ask Daxter if he was okay. He was your ward at some point, Samos. And whether Samos wants to admit it or not, Daxter is technically the other hero helping Jak on his journey. And here's what gets me. Even in Daxter's opening, his game, Samos couldn't even be nice. He even ended up insulting him near the end. Like, again, Samos.
Behind
really...
every great hero, there is always a wisecracking, obnoxious nincompoop.
Now, this next part is just me theorizing, but I think Daxter kind of just starts to not care about Samos. as the series went on. In Jak 3 and X, they barely talk to one another. Yes, Daxter technically insults Samos in the third game, but at least he acknowledges him. And Samos doesn't really ignore the two. When he is mad, he acknowledges Daxter.
Daxternator is back in the building.
Daxter, Jak, you did it!
It's about time you two got here. What took you so long?
So to me, at some point in Jak 3, Daxter kind of realized that maybe Samos just doesn't care for him, and because of this, he doesn't care for him anymore, nor does he talk to him. If we were to look back at Daxter's behavior from the beginning of this journey, we see that he's more excited and talkative around Samos. Granted, he's always interrupting him and making fun of him, and even throwing quick jabs here and there, but he was still talkative and active around him. But in Jak X, the relationship is entirely different. No jokes, no play. Daxter has some lines with Samos in Jak X, but you can see that their relationship has drastically changed. Notice how Daxter doesn't throw an insult or make a joke right back at Samos. He just asks a question, and after he gets attacked, he kind of just lets it go.
Race. I fear this affair will end badly. A wise man once said, "Be watchful of those in front of you, but beware of those behind."
What wise man said that?
I did.
Let it be known, Samos said this as a comfort but a caution to everyone who got poisoned and is forced to race. And Daxter, who also got poisoned and is also forced to race. But for some odd reason, he just snaps and yells at Daxter. He doesn't really ask that. I don't know, that whole snap he did at Daxter just wasn't needed in my opinion. Daxter doesn't even stop the fight between Keira and Samos. Something he would have done in the past. He would always interrupt Samos. But at this point, he just seems like he doesn't want anything to do with the old green man. And this does kind of play greatly into Daxter's storyline within the game series. He is more respected by his teammates in this game and his friends as well as his mentor. So why on earth would someone waste their time around someone who didn't really care about them? And also, I just want to add this one point. How are you going to sit there and make fun of Daxter's body when your body is green? I swear, Samos is a bully. Oh boy, Jak is gonna be a long one. So, way before Samos took Jak into the past, I saw that man did not see Jak as a child first. Samos, in my opinion, never saw Jak as a child, but rather a solution to the problem that was currently in Haven City.
What a brain wreck! Vin sure is scared of metalheads!
And for good reason. I've seen what metalheads do when they take a city. The destruction, the killing, the devouring.
Samos was one of Jak's first guardians after he had lost his father and his title.
I want you boys to escort the kid over to Core at the power station. He promised to look out for the boy, and I'm just too busy to babysit right now. Oh, and take the kid's crocodile with you. Oh, isn't he sweet?
So what's this kid's story?
I found him just wandering the streets, but that amulet around his neck means he may just be the lost heir to the city.
Off the bat, Samos immediately saw fit to find a way to get Jak back to the throne to save Haven City. The problem with that is Jak, and we're talking about Kid Jak here, was, he was just a baby. See, this whole speech about manhood he does in this temple in this one scene.
You must be cautious, child. The tests of manhood are sure to be fraught with peril, and Mars heir must face them alone.
This child is too young to face the tests.
I gotta admit, it always annoyed me because what Samos is saying here isn't bad, but it does not equal to the amount of danger behind that door. You see what I'm saying? This man is willing to send a 5-year-old into a meat grinder. I'm also noticing that he never gives Jak a name. He just calls him Kid. Jak's original name in his original timeline is Mar. He's named after his ancestor. Mar was literally the Prince of Haven City at some point. Why didn't no one know his name? Like, if they were calling him Kid to keep his identity safe from the Baron, okay, I get that. But why did Samos continue to call the kid Jak instead of his actual name when they jumped into the past? Something that will probably never be explained. Anyway, from the speech that Samos gives, we see that there's kind of a disconnect from Samos to Jak here. He doesn't see the boy as a child, but rather a prophecy to be fulfilled. Jak is never given the option to be someone else or do other things. See, Samos is the loudest in the room, especially in the first 2 games. He is the one that puts the hero mindset into Jak. But by doing this, he also takes away Jak's agency away. Something that Jak doesn't get until Jak 3. And ironically, he gets this when he's far away from Samos. Not to mention, Samos is just a terrible person when it comes to just being emotional. I'm noticing. See, in Jak 3, when the metalheads are attacking, Jak is currently at his lowest point mentally.
Oh, it is.
I'm afraid I've got more bad news. A large group of surviving metalheads have concentrated in another section of the city.
But we destroyed Core.
It appears the strongest metalheads have survived. The battle for the city has just begun.
The people are blaming you, Jak.
He doesn't know what to do because he thought that he did everything correct. He stuck to the prophecy that Samos had put into his head for years. He thought he did everything right, but now everything's on fire and he's panicking. At this very moment, when things are going straight to hell, Jak is lost for words. He doesn't know what to do. At this very moment, Samos should have consulted Jak a bit. Tell him that everything's going to be okay and that he shouldn't worry, but he doesn't.
Rumblings about you, Jak. It doesn't look good. They think your friendship with Crew helped the metalheads get into the city.
You don't believe that, do you?
What's in the past is done. Right now, metalheads are
No. He tells them that this shit's in the past and you just gotta focus on right now. It's only until after Jak comes back to Haven City, after being banished, he finally apologizes to Jak.
Into the port, then find a way north to reach us. And Jak, we're sorry for what happened. We should have stopped Vigor.
I'll stop him myself.
Mind you, he never apologizes to Keira nor Daxter, only Jak. And that's for him getting banished, not, basically screwing him over. Ignore me on that. No, let's not ignore that, because let's not forget the valuable information he kept from Jak for years. For example, his royal bloodline. I know Samos had to do this, but a part of me couldn't help but feel a little bit annoyed by this action. And what do I mean by that? By keeping Jak in the dark about his own past, Samos effectively gaslit Jak for years. He let Jak grow up as an orphan in the Sandover village, apologies, knowing full well of the weight of Jak's royal bloodline and of the time loop that Jak is currently trapped in without him even knowing about it. Instead of actually preparing him for the future that he's about to throw him into, he instead keeps it all to himself and allows Jak to get kidnapped and tortured for 2 years. And then when they reunite, instead of showing compassion and concern like Daxter and Keira, he instead...
What took you so long? I added 6 rings to my trunk waiting for you 2 to get me out of here. Great yakkow horns! What happened to you, Jak?
His first instinct isn't to even comfort Jak or even apologize for fucking him over. It's to put him immediately back to work. Now that I think about it, Samos would have known Jak was suffering from trauma. I never understood why he couldn't help young Jak. He literally was a mute before the jumping through the gate. So why didn't Samos take his time to try to help Jak speak again? I never understood that. In fact, now that I think about it, that actually feels a little bit manipulative. There was no love and care from Samos to Jak, but Jak, in my opinion, still cares for Samos in the game series. He never yells or snaps at Samos, unlike Keira and Daxter. It's a very one-sided love, though. One I think Jak can't see, but Keira and Daxter could. And to me, that's very heartbreaking. Oh, this one's gonna be rough. So, I stand by my words when I said that Samos is Keira's adopted father. Because looking at them now, I don't really see a father-daughter relationship. I see a girl who loves a man that she believes to be her father, but on Samos's end, I see a man who treats a girl like a subordinate. Samos shows absolutely no fatherly love towards Keira. In my eyes, there is a lack of affection from Samos's end. Samos basically trapped Keira within the time loop. See, Keira is needed for the time loop to exist in the first place. She created the rift from start to finish. And Samos knew this, therefore he probably hunted her down and eventually would meet her and her mother. As I said in my Keira video, I don't feel as though Samos really loved Keira's mother. I think he was just with her until her passing. There he would train Keira, or rather cater to her interest in technology. However, this doesn't come from love, but prophecy duty. If you notice, all of Keira's inventions exist to help Jak. She doesn't make herself anything, nor does Samos praise her for anything else but what is used to help Jak in saving Haven City. She's never encouraged to do anything else, and when she was, it was a bite in her ass, honestly. In the first game, Keira's excited about learning about the Rift Gate and what is behind it. Samos encourages this excitement while also knowing the danger on the other side of that door. I'm not saying that he knew about the metalheads. I'm saying he knew that they were going back to Haven City, basically robbing his daughter of her carefree life on the island in exchange for the beige, gritty colored slums of Haven City. And when they were united, he doesn't even try to comfort his daughter or explain what happened. For example, why are there two Samoses? I would have actually liked to see a scene where Keira is straight up confused as to why her dad is 10 years younger and doesn't recognize her. Like, again, this is another moment where Keira doesn't get to have. Like, Jak does tell her to go, and maybe she did go and see him. And if so, why couldn't we see it? I'm just asking. Whatever. But no, we can't have drama like that. Where was I? Right. So Samos prioritized the big picture of the rebellion over the safety and emotional well-being of his daughter. And let's not forget where he basically betrays her by telling her that this is your new home now.
We haven't much time. I've set the coordinates back to our village. Let's go home, everyone.
But we are home.
Keira, I'm afraid your Rift Rider must be used to send young Jak here to a place where he will grow up safe from harm. He must become old enough to complete the destiny he has fulfilled today.
No, seriously, think about it like this. Keira spent the majority of Jak 2 working tirelessly on repairing the Rift Rider, as well as searching for the gate. Samos watched this poor girl pour her soul into this project, while knowing darn well she wasn't gonna go home. He left the burden of getting them home on her shoulders, knowing damn well that all of that work wasn't even for her. And at a closer inspection, Samos kinda stole Keira's bright future. Keira was an inventor 300 years ago. She created many things that are still currently being used in Haven City today. Imagine if she stayed. Imagine how advanced civilization would be. Imagine Keira's legacy that, guess what? Samos kinda robbed. Even at the end of the game, she is acknowledged to be more by the sages. But all that potential is thrown out the window in favor of Jak's journey. Keira's never given a chance to be something else. She is pushed by her father to do what he says, something Keira realizes in Jak X when she tries to break free from Samos's grasp. In Jak X, Samos is acting like a dad, which seems to upset Keira, and she's allowed to be upset because where the fuck was all this concern in the last 3 games? No, seriously, you threw your daughter down a portal, a 14-year-old, mind you. You threw her down a portal and said, good luck, survive this shithell world, and now you want to act like a dad? No, I'm sorry. At this point, Keira has reached her wit's end with her father, and Samos sees this because he's a little manipulative in Jak X, in my opinion.
Flock off!
Daddy, I want to race. They need me there. I can win it all.
Oh no, not this again! Keira, you're not racing. It's much too dangerous.
But Daddy, I can do it. I can race better than any of those guys. You know I can.
Yes, I mean no, you can't. Well, I mean, yes, you can, but that's not the point. I won't have it. A woman's place is in the garage fixing cars.
You can't protect me forever. Someday I'll show you.
Not today, you won't. No racing. That's final. I can't risk losing my little girl.
I'm not your little girl anymore. You'll see.
He calls her his little girl. He shows concern for her, something he didn't do in Jak 2 when he reunited with her.
Good to have you back, Daddy.
Yes, it's nice to be free again.
Instead, he just orders her around, basically forcing her back into the shadow of Jak by demanding she remains the team's mechanic instead of the racer.
Won't have it. A woman's place is in the garage fixing cars.
And the irony is, Samos doesn't even need to be there. He isn't poisoned. He shouldn't even be in Crash City. He wasn't invited, and the fact that he shows up with absolutely no concern for any of the three that just got poisoned has me thinking, why are you here? Honestly, he was just an annoyance. Thank God Keira separates from him eventually, finally tethering the final line that connects Samos to the three. I can't stand Samos because he's the root cause of the majority of trauma for these three. And what gets to me about these games is Samos is never going to be punished for it. He saves Haven City. He gets to meet the precursors before he dies. He reaches his power that no one in Haven City has, and that is being a sage. He is literally rewarded for his actions. And I understand the time loop. But why couldn't Samos have kept Jak informed about his home? Why couldn't Samos be kinder to Daxter? And why couldn't he apologize to his daughter for lying to her? Samos acts less of a guardian to the trio and more of an authority figure that looms over them. He treats Jak, Daxter, and Keira as assets to manage rather than individuals to be nurtured. He reduces these three to just roles instead of seeing them as children. Jak the hero, Keira the support, and Daxter the nuisance. He plays with their fate and forces them into roles that takes pieces away from their own humanity. Not to mention he lied. He knew going through the Rift Gate would likely be a one-way ticket into a war zone. He kept this secret. He takes away their ability to say no. They followed him into a dystopian future because they trusted him, and he rewards their trust by letting them spend years trying to solve a mystery he already had answers to. Not to mention the man is he just has the ability to normalize trauma. Whether it's Daxter's horrific transformation, Jak's 2 years of being tortured, or even Keira's poison in Jak X, Samos' reaction is constantly just keep moving. He denies them the space to process their trauma, which forces them to be hardened and cynical just like him. And yes, I put that blame on Samos because Samos is their adult figure. He is their first guardian. He is practically their father figure. You should be the kindest to these three, but you're not. And this is why Samos had failed them to me. And that's why I'm glad he's not visible at the end of Jak X. Daxter saying this is a photo finish isn't him making a joke. It's the game also saying that these three heroes of this story have finally reached a point of peace in their life, and Samos ain't a part of that world. Thank God.